Hi, my name is Oshri Cohen. I am a serial entrepreneur, CTO, and I have built a product to help my kids with access to YouTube. I didn't want them to have unfiltered access to YouTube, but I wanted them to give them access to the videos that they really liked. Therefore, I created watchlyplayer.tv, which allows parents to select the videos that they want to allow on YouTube, and the kids only get to watch those videos. No ads, no comments, no recommendations, no nothing. So very much just the value of YouTube without, well, the garbage of YouTube.
Today's guest, Oshri Cohen, says don't lose old school values, because if you do, your society can run amok. He also says he can tell when people are only using AI. Don't let AI replace creativity. Oshri, welcome to the Better Call Daddy Show.
All right. Today's guest is a tech genius, and he is one of my past clients, so he's very well versed in podcasting, and I want to talk to him even a little bit about that. Today he showed up and he knew that he needed to have his camera well centered, and he needed to have a computer that was going to last more than 45 minutes and had his lighting right. Oshri, welcome to the Better Call Daddy Show. Talk to me about being a podcast interviewee.
Oh my gosh, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun when you Google yourself on YouTube and you're like, wow, oh my gosh, I'm like the entire first page is me, which is awesome. I also have a non-conventional name, so I'm pretty sure if you're looking for me, you're either looking for an Israeli actor or it's me. It's like there's no other one. There's nobody else.
And that's funny. I heard you mention that on the Doug Thompson podcast, and he was saying that he found out that you had an alter ego, and at least it wasn't a murderer, because when he searches his name, there's somebody else with that. And then you're like, oh, well, my sister has that. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe that. You just find out the most interesting shared experiences by podcasting. That was such a great story. So one thing I'm curious about is I heard you say on another show that your parents still don't know what you do really for a living. And I feel like that's a common thing. So break down to me, what is a fractional CTO or CTO as a service, and what do your parents actually think that you do?
But even before I was a fractional CTO or a CTO or whatever, nobody understood what I do. My in-laws don't understand what I do. As long as the mortgage is paid and the kids are educated, I guess nobody bothers me. You know what? And in the AI age, and this is like the last 6 months, the AI age is the last 6 months. This is how fast we've moved on in life. The entire premise of what a CTO does has completely shifted, right? Let me give you an example. We used to have to heavily focus on priorities because the cost of development was so expensive, right? One change could take 3 days. One big feature could take a month. A major system redesign, 6 months. So we would never do it. What's the point, right? So a lot of negotiation with business, a lot of negotiation. Oh, should we do this? When should we do this? We have finite resources and so on and so forth that needed to be handled and needed to be discussed. And so you needed leadership at that level. But now that the cost of engineering has largely collapsed down to nothing, that's what it is. It's nothing, right? We can build everything. So it's not what can we build now. We can build it all. There's no priorities when it comes to that. What should we build? And how fast will our customers be able to absorb the change? That's the biggest problem, right? It used to be, okay, well, we slowed down because of engineering, because engineering was slow. Now, we slow down on purpose. We have to slow down. I can't push that many features out so quickly. My customers will get annoyed. I own a few SaaSes. They will be annoyed. They'll be angry. They'll be like, okay, you stop changing. There's too much. Even though it's good for them, it'll be too much. You'd have to scale it out. I've worked with some clients where we redesigned the entire pipeline of how features, functions of a product get developed down all the way to release. They're developed in a month. We're releasing them 6 months later. There's just too much.
That's
the
crazy.
training, right? So in a world filled with synthetic employees, AI employees, the organic ones are the limitation. It'd be much easier to sell to AI. It can adopt much faster.
That's crazy.
So the entire premise of a fractional CTO, going back to your question, it's very different. It's very different. We need to actually now be more hands-on on the code, right? Take a CTO who has, like me, 25 years of experience in engineering, product, founder, this, that, consulting. What I can push out with AI, a team of 10 people cannot push out with AI. I'm not saying it's because I am better than 10 people. It's because the way I ask for what AI, the way I instruct AI is different because I know what problems will come down the pipeline, right? That's the thing. It's a bit of an existential crisis also for engineering. We can dive into that one.
Yeah. And you've been coding since you're like 13. Talk to me about how did you get interested in coding?
My parents bought me a computer when I was 13. And the internet was very slow. So, I'm like, can I write stuff for this? Okay. I opened the book and I started to learn and I started to write, right? And I started to write viruses and this and that and so on and so forth. I even ran an illegal DVD copying and CD copying operation out of my high school, right? People wanted...
That's funny. I know a lot of people do that.
People wanted software. My moral compass was very different when I was 16 and poor, okay? Very different. Very different.
Well, that probably made you popular. I mean, all the kids want to watch illegal things.
Yes, that's it, right? But it was for software in this case. Nobody even had DVDs yet. It wasn't even for movies, it was for computer games because at the time, it's very expensive, right?
Yeah.
And so I had an order sheet and so on and so forth. I had a rack of CD writers. They were like a few $100s at the time. In my bedroom, my parents were like, what the heck are you doing? What is this? They didn't know a thing. I'm like, it's a project. My immigrant parents, they're lucky they know where I go to school, right? They signed once and that's it. It's like, you go there. Okay, there you go. Done, finished. And so, and I would sell it basically out of my locker. People would come in, order sheet, they'd give me the cash. And I'm like, it'll take me 4 days to get you all of these things. And and I made a lot of money that way.
Hey, that's early entrepreneurship.
Yes, very illegal. I don't recommend it to anyone. Do not do this. My moral compass is very different now. I would not do this if you paid me literally, because as a software developer, now I understand how hard it is to build software, or at least back then. Now it's easier to build software, right? Now I just talk to an AI. As we're talking right now, I've got 3 AIs working right now. One updating my website, one building my next product, and one updating a bug that I found. Right now, it's happening right now. In real time.
That's amazing. How are you staying on top of AI and learning how to do all of these things?
Talking to an AI is a skill everybody has. So, have you ever spoken to a really stupid person who knows everything? Like an absolute idiot. But they know everything. They have all the knowledge in the world. But if you ask them a question beyond what they know, they can't answer you properly except for regurgitated information. And now you have to tell this person what to do. You talk to it like that. You talk to it like an idiot. If you talk to it like assuming it's intelligent, it's going to give you confidently wrong answers. Some of the time. Most of the time it's fine. 90% of the time it's fine. Right? Software development is one of those areas where it'll do a pretty decent job. Right? Pretty decent job. Even if you were lazy, even if you cut corners, you would never be able to meet the productivity. But at the end of the day, what matters is getting to market, right? Getting to market. Security and all of that, I just tell the AI, review security, and that's it. Go and do it. Now, having said that, I'm a trained engineer. I have decades of experience, literally decades of experience. I know what to ask, right? I know exactly what to ask. And I know
what are some of your favorite things to ask it? Things other than software?
Oh my gosh, write blog articles are great. but you have to guide it properly. So if I write a blog article, I'll usually write an essay of about 500 words, right? Beginning, da, 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 da. And then I'll tell it, add information to this, add sources to this, because I know the information is factual, but I need to do the research. Add sources to this, add this, and then it expands to about 1,800 words. Okay, great, fantastic. And then I'll take the blog article and I'll say, you know what? I want to do a video about this. So can you make me a video script with tonality and when to pause and when not to pause? And then I read it. I happen to be good on camera from time to time, depends on the day. But yeah, that's how I use AI. That's how I use AI. All my social media, except on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is always me. It's never AI. But on Instagram or anything like that, all AI, 100%. It's always 100%.
Why don't you do AI with LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, it's a professional network, and if anyone spells AI, they'll then see it. I also don't even schedule posts on LinkedIn either, because I'm having a conversation with people. And so if I schedule posts, I forget what I even posted, and then I'm getting a whole bunch of notifications like, what are we talking about right now? I guess people follow me because I'm authentic and I don't BS. So if I started just posting whatever, they would stop, right? That's the thing.
But you must see AI. It's all over AI. I mean, it's all over LinkedIn.
All over the place, and those people get blocked. I block those people in 10 seconds. Those people get blocked. Forget about it.
Even if they post with AI?
Yeah, I don't like AI posting because the writing is not genuine. I want to talk to someone. I want to talk to a human being, right? I don't want to talk to a machine. I talk to a machine all day long. I'm on LinkedIn because you know what? Hey, I'm answering, a post with a comment. We're continuing the conversation. LinkedIn is an interesting place. You get very little business from LinkedIn. Very, very little. LinkedIn is a social proof kind of environment. I wouldn't advertise on LinkedIn in any way, shape, or form. I wouldn't expect getting contracts from LinkedIn, nor do I ever get a contract from them. I've never gotten a contract from LinkedIn, ever.
Really?
Yes. But when people check me out on LinkedIn, they're like, holy moly, this guy actually exists. And look at that, he's got followers, whatever the hell that means nowadays, right? He's got followers, and he says interesting things. So he must be real. So it's a social proof platform. That's how I've seen it. I lost my shirt advertising on LinkedIn. It don't work. Nobody buys off anything. Nobody buys services. It's a recommendation, a referral. Oh, you know this guy. Okay, if you know this guy, then you might be interesting. So, that's it. That's as far as it goes.
Interesting. So where do you get most of your clients and fractional work?
Podcasts. Right? Podcasts.
Yeah, you told me that it had been beneficial for you, which I'm so happy to hear.
If you're on a podcast and someone's looking for, is listening to that podcast, whatever it may be, you have their attention probably in the car or while they're commuting for a good half hour. There's nothing that can beat that. Nothing at all can ever beat that. That's it. You have their attention. That's what it is. And if you have their attention, you can sell to them without selling to them. So I've gotten contracts usually right after a podcast episode hits it. Somebody sees like, oh, okay, that's an interesting one. Let's talk to this guy. Yeah, I've gotten my last 4 contracts were like that off of podcasts. So now I'm reinvesting in my time in podcasts a lot.
That's incredible. I would like you to talk about too, just kind of like your evolution of even being a podcast guest and how, when you first started and some of the tips that I gave you and then how you evolved. Because I do think it takes some time to become comfortable and confident on the mic.
Yeah, it took a good maybe 20 podcasts for me to get my podcast voice, because I would usually, my tonality would go up and down, and very exciting all the time. And it's too much. It doesn't hear well on a podcast, right? You're in a car. You don't want someone screaming at you suddenly. You want to have that tonality, right? So I listen to a lot of professional podcasts and I try to emulate that tonality a lot, right? It's very different. It's very different. But But it takes a minute. It takes a minute. Now, also what I realized is to choose the podcasts very carefully, because there's a lot of chop shops out there that will just want for their, a guest for 10 minutes and then there'll be a 30-minute ad for their product or service and whatnot. I don't like that. I used to have a podcast agency that found me podcasts, right, to be on, but they were expensive. They were $2,500 a month. That was way too much.
And for only like 3 placements, right?
Yeah, 3 placements a month and whatnot. And now I have Claude Cowork doing that for me for free. It's literally going against 6,984 podcasts, going to their website, taking a look at everything that they talk about and seeing whether it's good for me. And if it's good for me, it drafts a pitch and then I email them. Doesn't do it automatically. It just does it one after another. Done.
That is genius. I am curious. Can you tell me a little bit about what that pitch says?
Oh my gosh, what does the pitch say? So the pitch references their podcast and any particular episodes that are relevant, and how I'm relevant because they've spoken about that. And what about my product or service is relevant. I have a lot of services, right? So I do AI-native transformations. I do fractional CTO. I have a SaaS that I developed recently that I'm starting to market now. And so depending on which market that podcast is talking to, the AI determines the market and then says, you know what, this works for you or this is not for you at all. Yeah.
I would make one more suggestion. This would be kind of like going the extra mile, but just as a host, because I get a ton of those kinds of pitches and I take such a slim percentage of them. I would say that's amazing that it pulls that information for you and that it comes up with a pitch saying how you're related. But I would actually listen to the show first and see if there's something personal that maybe you can relate with the host on, or maybe something that you could add to the conversation that they've already had that relates to what you do.
So this is the initial analysis, right? So it pre-filters. Out of the 6,984, it found 3,800, I think. Yes, I just checked. 3,800 that actually matter, right? Because I have a product that I'm pitching to parents in the B2C market, so I'm actually going after those first over the tech space, the AI space. And so yeah, so it found those. And then from there, I'll listen very quickly, 5-10 minutes tops, and then I'll take the copy and then I'll email them that. But I add something to it. I don't know what it is yet. I go in and I'm like, okay, well, hey, John, Julie, whatever your name is, this was very interesting and so on and so forth. The pitch is not a copy paste. The pitch gives some valid information, right? And some points relative to the service that I'm selling to them. So it saves me a heck of a lot of time, right? It saves me a ton of time. So it reduces my workload by 80%. So once it's done everything, then I go through it and then I have it in a CRM and then I move next one, analysis, let's go. And I'll blast through that on a weekend and that's it.
That's genius. That's really smart. And I think people would even pay you for that. But I am curious too about your software that you're building for parents, because this is Better Call Daddy and my parent is involved with the show. And there are a lot of parents that listen to the show.
So you have kids that like YouTube?
Oh, I mean, every kid likes YouTube now. That's all they watch.
Yes. So YouTube is a pain in the ass. Can we agree on that one? It's basically a bottomless pit of garbage. And from time to time, you find a gold nugget, right? So I'll give you an example. My kids love engineering. They're homeschooled, right? So we actually use YouTube quite a bit, right? My 9-year-old likes to watch TEDx. He likes to watch TED videos. This is what he likes to, because then we have good, really interesting conversations, right? You have a conversation with a 9-year-old about economies of scale and see how that one goes. And he's actually talking to you about it. He's like, yeah, but that's going to take too much money. I'm like, yeah, 9-year-old homeschooled kid. I've never spoken to a 9-year-old like that ever, but this is the conversations we have. He's homeschooled. This is what it is, right? So the problem with YouTube is they want to watch YouTube. We don't want them to go down the bottomless pit of recommended videos by an algorithm that really wants to hook them. And you're usually 3 to 4 videos away from something extremely extreme or nasty or whatever it is, or even not. Even channels and creators that are good, like they do engineering. How can you be bad with engineering? But you know what? There's one creator that my kids love, and he has one episode that they really like that I do not, because it's about convincing a girl to go out on a date with you through these cockamamie ways. And what he says is, it's like, hey, this is gonna get her from the friend zone to the yes zone. And I'm like, and I didn't like that. I'm like, and I have 2 boys, so we talk about objectification a lot. It's very hard to explain.
Even at 9? How old's your other one?
12. And it's very hard to explain, right? But so we didn't like that because we couldn't pre-filter what the child was watching. So we created this product called watchlyplayer.tv, and it's live, it's online. And what it allows parents to do is you sign up, it's $5 a month for the entire family. It's basically discretionary, like it doesn't cost anything, right? You can select any videos you want, put them into libraries, and all directly connected with YouTube, and they can watch their YouTube videos, but in a protected environment with no ads, with no comments, no recommended videos, no autoplay. We do not want autoplay. Customers have asked me for autoplay. I'm like, the purpose is not to have autoplay. The purpose is to slow them down with YouTube. Otherwise, they're going to go nuts, right? So they'll have to click and select. That's okay. We don't want autoplay. Autoplay is the devil. And then your kid is stuck watching for 2 hours like this, and you forgot because you're making dinner, because you're doing this, you're running around, you're in a client meeting, all of these things. But what we realized, that wasn't enough. So now we have an AI that listens to the video, okay, and then pulls out across 21 different themes if there's something that your family values may not be up for. So there's some videos, totally fine. We're talking about geopolitics. What the hell are you talking about geopolitics? This is a video for kids. Or are you mentioning something halfway around the world? One has nothing to do with it. Why are you doing that? I don't want that to happen. I don't want my kids exposed to these things. So now my AI will say, well, there's geopolitic references and they're mentioning this and this and this and this at this point. What do you say? Do you want to allow it or not? It's your choice. There's some sexism, there's some objectification, there's some bullying, there's some this, some that. In a Minecraft video, yeah, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to round them up and murder them all. Oh, chill, relax. That's a proper use of AI. So now it's live, it's kicking, customers are signing up. Not as fast as I'd like it to be, but they're slowly getting there, slowly but surely.
Wow. Yeah, I love the idea. I always say, watch something educational. But like you said, those recommended videos pop up very quickly.
My 6-year-old has 650 videos on his account. And they're all videos that we approve. All of them. Every single one. And the AI has approved it, right? And it valued. So like, we're in the clear. We're good. Have fun. Knock yourself out. Go watch. Go do your thing. He has some silly videos. And he has got some learning videos. And he'll go back and forth between them. And that's fine. That's okay. Because we have good conversations.
Did your childhood at all come into play with what you built?
My childhood was in the era of TV channels. If you missed the show, you missed the show. We had to schedule our playing around Spider-Man. I can tell you, Oh, it's 3:00. It's Spider-Man time. Let's go. Right? And then, oh, it's a rerun. And that's it. So we were not inundated by TV, by media as much as the kids are today. Completely inundated, which is why we now also we just added a feature to Watchly Player, intermission. So you can set every 10 minutes, they pause for 1 minute, and it literally just pauses with a timer for 1 minute, just to kind of regulate their nervous system, right? Yeah, it's kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that it's going to start selling quite quickly, but we'll see. Who knows?
Yeah. I know I heard on another interview that you taught yourself to code at 13. And did you finish high school? You didn't go to college?
I finished high school, but I didn't do university. or anything like that. Quebec has a weird system in where I live, right? You have to pass French 100%. And I failed French with a 59% because the final exam is a pass-fail. That's it. Doesn't matter what you do all year. It's a pass-fail by the government. They don't care. 59%. I feel like they needed to fill a certain amount of people. I got caught in there. And honestly, that derailed my entire career. My entire thing is like, okay, well, I guess I can't go to CJEP. I can't go to university until I'm 21. What am I going to do? I'm just turning 18 or not even like 17, whenever you graduate. I don't even remember. Right. Yeah. So it was a pretty tough situation, but I made the best of it. So yeah, so I'm mostly self-taught.
Wow. So there was nothing else you could do after that? What happened next?
Adult education. But then you'd have to redo an entire year, and that would take an entire year of schooling, and in adult ed, that would have taken 3 years. So I'm like, well, what's the point of that? In 3 years, I'll be in university as an adult student. So I started working and so on and so forth, right? I built some pretty big websites for some employers, and then did consulting, and then did McGill University at night. It was pretty heavy, but you do what you got to do. So I took a business degree instead of a engineering degree.
What are your thoughts about that now?
Useless. A business degree is completely and utterly useless.
How come?
You can get all this information anywhere else. You can analyze any case study you want from Harvard, from whoever. What you need to, the value right now is learning how to think. With an AI that can give you every answer, what really matters is the question. How do you formulate the question properly? Why are you asking this question? So meta-analysis of your own thoughts, right? That's where it actually matters, right? This is why they're saying, a lot of people are starting to say that the neurodivergents are the ones who are going to succeed in the world of AI because they can think in so many different ways and patterns. And in so many different ways and patterns. And yeah, that's it. And we're only 6 months in to a proper AI. Anthropic finally released in January, when they released their Opus model, or the latest version of their Opus model. Now we're like, okay, now AI is valid. We're talking about 6 months. That's January 2026. It's not a long time ago. 7 months now. It's not a long time ago at all. That's a serious thing. Right? So Rita, how long did it take society to handle the introduction of radio and the television? 50 years? Almost 100 years maybe? I don't know. I don't remember where the TV was invented. Let's say in the 1950s. So let's say about 50 years, right? Until close to 2000. Then the internet. The internet took us about 10 years before everybody was using it. The real internet, not the stuff that we're building in the 50s and, in the military. We're not talking about that internet. We're talking about the real internet, Amazon and whatnot. Suddenly everyone's buying online. Suddenly everyone's doing things. 10 years to change how humans communicate, literally. I don't know where you're located, but, we're literally probably across oceans at this point, right? It took 10 years. And AI, we still don't know where it's going, and it's getting better literally every month. At every release, it's getting smarter and smarter. We don't know where it's landing yet. I have agents that review my Google Analytics and are telling me what to fix. I don't need someone to review my Google Analytics. I have another agent that does my marketing, and it tells me, hey, today you need to do a video about this and this, and tomorrow you need to do a video about that and that, and then after that, you know what? Let's stop with the videos and I'll do a bunch of carousels on LinkedIn, on Instagram. Okay, sure, Mr. Inanimate Object.
What's crazy about that, though, I mean, I had a business owner reach out to me this week. She's done no marketing. All she has is a website and Yelp for her business. And she's a successful business owner. She's never made a business page on LinkedIn, has no Instagram presence, no Facebook business page.
LinkedIn is for knowledge workers.
But it is social proof. If you're a business owner, I think that you need to have a business page, don't you?
You need to have a business page in the relevant space that you're in. If you're running a laundromat, nobody cares. Then you're on LinkedIn for what? What was the point? Who cares? Right? Then, if you own a car wash or 5 car washers or 100 of them, nobody's ever going to know your name, and you don't need to. So LinkedIn is very much a knowledge worker type of environment. The knowledge workers have to prove that they have knowledge. You should wait for my video. I'm going to be roasting LinkedIn so hard. I'm writing the script right now. I'm burning everybody. It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be hilarious. Have you ever listened to Bill Mayer?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know his new rules segment. I love his new rules segment. I've done a few of them, and I'm going to do one about LinkedIn. And as I'm reading it, I'm cracking up constantly. It's going to be a good.
Comedy does well on LinkedIn. If you're in a certain niche, like I've seen a bunch of recruiters make fun of the recruiting process. And if you know that space really well and can do skits, I feel like those are the best kind of videos to do.
Yeah, entertain people. That's how I got 22,000 followers. Not because I post something witty about AI, because I make funnies.
Yes, I try to do stuff like that too, but maybe that's a good idea to do more of that. I cannot believe that you're using AI for videos and for your marketing plan. I mean, yesterday my kids went to Six Flags and I was like, go to Reddit and go to ChatGPT and see, like, should you buy the season pass? Should you get the membership? Should we get one season pass and make the daughter your guest because they're only going to go a couple times this summer? I was like, use ChatGPT to figure out the most cost-effective way to go tomorrow,
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I don't use ChatGPT anymore, but yeah.
Or Claude, whatever. But are you teaching your kids that?
The AIs are evolving. There's like a race between the AI models. There's a race, and then I'm just waiting. I have no allegiance to anyone. Whoever gets my $200 a month is the one who does the better job. That's it. Done. We're finished. There's no conversation.
ChatGPT is good for memes.
It can make memes very well. Yeah. I use it to make interesting art. I use it to make social media posts and what, because it can generate imagery, but Claude cannot. So Anthropic cannot do that. They don't do the imagery aspect, right? But I'll give you an example. I was designing videos for Watchly Player for social media. I had an AI video service that I pay for connected to Claude, right? And then I am telling it off my phone in the coffee shop how to make the video. And it's giving me the screenshots and everything, and I'm sipping coffee, and I'm just waiting, and it comes out, and I'm like, I don't like this part. Let's change this and this and this and this. Boom. Processing. Here's the next one. Oh, okay, I kind of like this. Let's add this at the end. Let's add this. Boom. Okay, great. Now, I like this video. Can you now post it? And I have another service to schedule posts across the social media sphere, except LinkedIn, okay? Except my personal LinkedIn, okay? Social media sphere, I want you to post this video on randomly at least once a week with a different caption. It knows everything about my product. It knows everything about the features. It wrote a caption. It wrote the Google Analytics tracking codes. It wrote everything. I did this, clack. Got on my bike, biked home. By the time I came back, I had a social media posts all the way to October.
Okay, I need to be using AI more. That is incredible. Also, thinking about Watchly, you are kind of like thinking about kids needing a brain break. I like that feature. That's cool, where it doesn't do the autoplay. But you said your son has 650 videos. What about a feature where it goes through videos that you would want to recommend for your kid?
We're going to start with that soon enough, where parents can tag educational videos and silly videos. But the AI can tag it. And then for every silly videos, they have to watch another educational videos, and it reshuffles everything. And it'll hide. And it's like, you got to watch a couple of TED Eds first, or some math videos, and then you can watch the rest. So we're trying to help the parent, right? We're trying to help them. That's the point. We built it as a product for us. We've been using it for 6 months, right? And as the kids are noticing a problem, as my wife is noticing a problem, she asks me, I whip out my phone, type a couple of prompts, hit enter. It's like it'll be done in 2 hours. That's it. Not because the AI takes 2 hours, because then I'll be able to review it. I have to review everything. It'll be done in 10 minutes of work. That's it. And it's done, and go do your good. I dispatch the work. We're done. That's it. So use AI as an employee. That's why I call it a synthetic employee. You and I are organic. It's synthetic. When I was consulting with some companies recently, they were trying to figure out how to account for the AI cost, right? Because suddenly the AI can suddenly explode in cost. It can explode in cost if you're not careful. And what I said is, listen, it's a synthetic employee because it does work. So you have to basically account it like an employee. Is that employee's cost producing that amount of what that employee would normally produce or more? That's what you have to evaluate it at, right? We can't evaluate the productivity of an AI yet. It's not something that's possible yet. That's the problem. We can't. We don't know. We don't know how. There's no way of really evaluating the productivity just yet.
Is it a synthetic teacher as well? Because you are doing homeschool. Are you using AI to design their education?
We use some AI to do that, but our kids are more of the unschooling approach in that we have the curriculum printed out, we check mark it, as the child shows interest, we formulate the interest around the curriculum, right? Oh, you want to learn about, well, my 9-year-old wants to build a business. This is what he does. He thinks about all day long. It's like, Abba, I have a business idea that I want to talk about. And we'll sit there for 2 hours talking about a business and the marketing and the this and the that. Well, you know what? My 9-year-old can't do math on paper, but he'll do computations in his head in the hundreds of thousands of dollars because he gets it, because that's how his mind works. So in school, he would fail. So with an AI, he would probably fail. So he needs someone to converse with him and teach him that way. It's easier to homeschool when you're an educated parent. If you're not educated, it's a tough one, that's for sure. But AI can definitely help. The problem is more psychological than anything. We don't want a child to create a dependency and a relationship with this AI that can feel very human at times.
Yeah, I feel like AI is my shrink sometimes. Have you ever wrote an emotional situation? Yeah, and asked AI what they would do?
I converse with it. When I'm cooking dinner, I put my earbuds on, I turn on Claude and on speaker mode, and I talk to it. I'm like, hey, talk to me about this and this and this. What about this? And then it responds to me in this perfect British 007 voice, because I don't know why I prefer the British accent, but it works for me. It felt weird as a female voice. I'm like, oh, that's like...
You're like, this feels all wrong. Yeah.
This is all wrong. I feel like I'm cheating here. No, you know.
Yeah, the female validating your feelings. Yeah.
No, thank you. Let's just choose the male James Bond guy. It works for me, whatever it is, irrelevant of the gender. And that's it, and I ask it questions and I deep dive into something. The other problem with AI is that we have no downtime anymore. There's no downtime. It used to be, if I need to work, I need to sit at my computer and work and focus and do work. Now, I whip out my phone, bam, 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 boom. Make me a script for this. 5 minutes later, it made me the script. I'm going to edit it, make these changes, boom. Because it's still me. It's still my content, right? I don't take it and just whip it out online. I edit it heavily, right? It just reduces 80% of the workload, the editing itself. So I'll give you an example. I'm creating a set of courses for professional vibe coding to teach people like you and other people who are non-technical at all how to code with AI, straight up like an engineer, okay? I wrote the entire course content, everything, and it filled in all the blanks, okay? It took days of work to fill in all the blanks. And then I asked it, listen, you're a student who's non-technical, reviewing this course. How do I make sure that you're going to be interested from lesson to lesson to lesson to lesson because I charge per month, right? And so it looked at it, it's like, well, you're not getting to the meat up until lesson 3. As a student, I'd be bored and I might cancel. I'm like, okay, so I need to really jump really quickly, get them to deploy.
You got to get that value in there immediately, some kind of takeaway that they can implement.
Get them to yeah, exactly. Get them to deploy their website within the first course.
First class. Oh yeah. Because that's what they think they're signing up for. Yeah.
You've got one. Good. And then it grows and grows and grows and gets more complicated and more complicated, all the way down to building a database. You don't know how to build a database. Yeah.
It's funny because last night I was like, I have a WordPress site and I haven't been updating it as much as I'd like with each individual episode for the podcast because I have to still like manually write each entry. And I told my husband, I was like, yeah, can't you vibe code this? Like, make me a new site.
No, but that's it. So I had the same thing. I had it on Wix. I was paying $80 a month, something ridiculous like that, right? And I couldn't change the template. I couldn't change the design. Wix told me I had to copy it and import, export. I'm like, I'm not doing this. This is madness. But it's an ugly design. I didn't like it. I opened Claude.ai/design, right? I said, hey, look at my website. I need it more refined. I'm going after a higher end clientele. Give me a new design. You know what? Give me 3 different designs. Okay. I'm in this kind of consulting and so on and so forth. Take a look at the content. Design me a beautiful website, oshricohen.me. Beautiful, beautiful design, right? And created the blog, copied all my blog articles from this, did everything. I was up and running in about an hour with my new website, like that. Receiving traffic, hosted it on some dumb server that took 10 minutes to set up, not even, right? And that's it.
You could get partnerships even with like Namecheap. Get a hosting site that will give you a kickback.
No. That's a volume business, and you've got...
I got over 200 people to sign up for Namecheap when I did an episode with them, and they gave me a kickback from that.
Yeah, I don't get that much traffic. It's my personal branding website, so it's all the services that I do, my blog, my thoughts, the products I own. That's it. It's just, and so I get a lot of traffic. I get about 150 visits a day, but it's not a business. My other businesses, yeah, maybe the whole vibe coding community thing. So what I'm doing is, for example, you might be interested because, hey, your husband develops, but he doesn't have time to help you, right? He has a job. Maybe, oh, there we go. Okay. So part of my professional vibe coding course is a community as well. You're on Slack with me. So if you have a problem, you Slack it. I usually answer within 2 hours or so, or sometimes immediately. And the entire purpose is you have a CTO in your back pocket, right? You have a problem, I'm here to solve it. You have a question, I'm here to solve it. That's my job. And I record videos and so on. And so it's a lot of work at the beginning. I'm launching it now. It's going to be a lot of work at the beginning, but eventually I'll have all the content. It'll be much easier, right? So I'm hoping to build out a good maybe 300-400 person community, private community. Yeah, that's it. So if you need to build a website, it's cheaper than hiring someone, and you get to do it your way. So I walk you through the entire process. Oh, well, I'm doing a trial run. Someone asked me, hey, how do I add a username password like as a membership thing? So I got on a call with him off of Slack. This is how you do it, and so on and so forth. And when you're ready, you send me your GitHub, and I'm going to review it for you as well. So they're getting a lot more value than they would get if they hired me as a consultant. But it's at scale, so I'm slowly building up the community. Yeah.
Are you going to have your kids involved in it? Are they interested in your work?
No, not in the slightest. And I'm telling them they're not involved in tech at all. Get out of tech. They're not going to do tech at all. Zero. Yeah. I'm teaching them how to use AI.
What do you encourage them to do?
I'm encouraging them to think like a business operator. Because at the end of the day, you still need your laundromat, you still need your trades, those are the jobs that are not getting touched in any way, shape, or form. No one's touching those jobs. Not until robots can do it, and even then, right? I want to see a robot go under a toilet and try to fix something like that. They won't be able to. Only a human can do that. Maybe one day, who knows? Maybe. So that's where I'm guiding them, because I don't see any value in the knowledge in knowledge work beyond math and physics.
Interesting. Well, I have a kid that wants to homeschool next year, and I am going to be embarking on that journey. So how do you think you can be successful in homeschooling?
The biggest challenge for homeschooling, and I'm speaking for my wife here because she's the one who homeschools, but the biggest challenge is dealing with our perceived notion of what education is. Sitting down for 8 hours. But that's not education, that's retention of knowledge, right? My kids usually will finish a curriculum within 2 to 3 months. The school year is 8 to 10 months.
A lot of wasted time.
It's babysitting. So they'll finish it in 2 months. I'll pay my kid $300 to finish his math faster. Whatever, so do it. And even me and my wife, we had a problem with that at first. We're like, well, love of learning. So nobody's... Love of learning comes because you love learning, because it's not a stressful environment. But if you don't want to do your math right now, I don't want to work right now. I want to be on the beach. But I work because someone's going to give me money. So you're incentivizing me to work. So I'm going to work. There you go. Nobody goes to the office because they want to. Everybody would rather pick mangoes on the beach. So that's it. The hardest part is us evolving. That was the hardest one. It took 2 years for us to change our perceived notions. Very, very difficult for us because we feel like they're not learning. We feel like they are not getting educated. But then when we look at education, what is actually education, right? Is them actually understanding the material? My kid can't do divisions on paper, but he can do divisions in his head. He's going to get to divisions on paper eventually. He's going to get to it. Does my kid need to learn long divisions? Spend a month on long divisions? The whole with the, I still don't know how to do long divisions. No, you need a calculator. And the day that we don't have calculators anymore, don't worry about it. That kind of math, you don't need it. We're all on farms. So that's the thing. So homeschooling is a very different ball game. Usually 2 hours a day, sometimes nothing for a week because you don't need to. Sometimes it's reading a book for 8 straight hours and then talking about it and conversing, right? Yeah. So we had with my 9-year-old and my 12-year-old, because there's so many wars around the world, we're talking about the ethics and morality of war. Like, this is a pretty deep conversation to have with children. They're not having that conversation in school, ever. That's a university level.
And it's a safer environment to talk about it.
And it's a safer environment because I'm not going to say stupid things, right? Because I want them to be critical thinkers. So there's the pros, the cons, the this, the that, everything that, and the geopolitical issues and whatnot. It's almost like chess. So yeah, it's interesting.
It's funny too, because I'm getting ready to embark on that, but also my oldest wanted to go into business. So he was thinking business analytics. What else would you tell someone that is trying to figure out which way to go?
Financial literacy, finance. It all starts and ends with finance. If you're going to buy a business, you need to understand all the financial instruments required to buy and finance a business and grow a business. Are you giving equity? Are you giving shares? Are you taking out a loan? What kind of loan? Interest rates? All of these things is not what AI can help you if you don't know what questions to ask. You need to know what questions to ask. You don't need to be an expert in finance. You need to know what questions to ask in finance and if you can do it in your head, right? That's the thing. Oh, if you're going to share equity with your employees, what does that actually mean before you shoot your mouth, right? How are you going to grow your business, operations, all of these things, a little bit of everything. But first, it starts with financial literacy. If you know that, you're in the clear.
How did you learn financial literacy? Was it Hard Knocks?
Yeah, Hard Knocks. Hard, yeah. I just Hard Knocks. It's like, oh, I made a big mistake.
Because they don't teach it in school.
They do not teach financial literacy in school. No. What I should have done is I should have done a finance degree instead of a business administration degree in university, but as is life. I'm learning it now. I help with financing with some clients. So yeah. So now I know it. I know it very well, but I learned it. It's not that complicated.
I'm also curious, like, how you became a CTO, because my husband feels like it's a chicken and egg problem. Like, until you become one, you can't really do that fractionally. How do you become one?
Oh my gosh, it's so difficult. It's such a difficult role because a CTO is a business role. It's not a technical role. It's all business and product. The technology aspect, the engineering aspect, that's sure, be great at engineering, but no one's gonna sit a CTO down and say, hey, how do we design our website? No, that's not the question, right? A CTO builds a team. They help manage the business from the technology point of view, right? That's how they're looking. They're overseeing, and then they're hiring the right people to make the technical decisions. You've got your CTO for the startups, but that title has been completely butchered. They're just really good programmers. There should be no CTO in a startup. You should have a tech lead and a co-founder, and your co-founder should not be a CTO. A co-founder should be an operations, a marketing person, someone like that, and then you hire the right person, right? It's a very controversial thing. I say it because I say controversial things, because I say what I believe, and I believe that, right? A fractional CTO is more than enough in a startup to come and advise you, guide you for an hour a week even. Just an hour a week. An hour a week, that's all you need. Because in reality, it's not like you're sitting with your CTO in any company and doing strategy for 40 hours a week. You're not. That's not what you're doing, right? You're not sitting there with your lawyer doing legal strategy 40 hours a week. They're doing work that other people can do. That's where the fractional CTO comes into play, right? But there's fractional IT management, there's fractional lead engineering, there's a fractional of everything, but it's not really popular in the US. It's more of a European thing.
And how is it different in the startup community versus corporate?
Startups are life and death, always. They operate from a life and death point of view. Corporate wants to operate like a startup because startups have the ability to move really, really fast, right? But the problem, and I've worked in corporate, even recently, I've worked at a corporate education space. They don't accept innovation that quickly. They don't know what to do with it. They can't move that fast because in their world, in corporate's world, it's too big of a ship to shift. So everybody wants to operate like a startup, right? Nobody wants to actually operate like a startup because they can't actually do it. You'd have to let go the entire executive team and hire people who are hungry, not people who are docile. A lot of executive teams are very docile. I just made a post about that on LinkedIn, right? You know, the most dangerous people on an executive team are the yes man people, right? That's what you find a lot in corporate. In a lot of corporate environments, that's what you find, right? But in startups, you can't be a yes man. You have to challenge ideas constantly because everything moves so quickly. That's what it is. Everyone's survival.
Do you prefer that environment?
I prefer startups to corporate, yes. I prefer startups to corporate, but I don't want to, I'm generalizing the corporate culture, right? But there are companies that operate at the speed of light as well. Apple, Anthropic, they're corporate, but they operate like a startup, right? They operate where innovation and grand ideas and crazy ideas is a thing that is an approach that they need to take. That's the thing, right? But that's most of corporate is like they're okay with something taking 8 months and costing $5 million when, a startup person comes in like myself and says, this should cost you $100K and should be done in 3 weeks. Like, why are you allowing this process to even go on? Well, because if they optimize the process, people lose their jobs and they don't want to fire people. They can't, or they don't have the guts, or whatever it is, whatever it may be. And I've worked with enough to see that. Yeah.
A lot of politicking.
Oh my gosh. So much wasted effort. So much wasted time around politics. You think executives are mature, right? It's like talking to adult children. You hurt their feelings. You're an adult. If I tell you your idea is stupid, it's stupid. It's a dumb idea. Defend your idea. Go ahead. They can't. Okay, well then, what do I tell you?
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
And then they do it in the background. They talk to people. It's like, in the amount of time that we talk, we could have already solved the problem 3 different ways. Just do it. But that's leadership for you, right? Or lack thereof.
A lot of silos. Yeah.
A lot of silos. That's the CEO's primary job, is to make sure that their executive team operates properly, right? That's what it is. So,
Tell me about your dad.
my father's an old army guy. He was conscripted to the army and so on and so forth. He taught me one very, very valuable lesson that I take with me everywhere. It kind of shaped who I am and how I operate. And he said, always be friends with the cook. Make friends with the cook before you make friends with your commander. And what he meant by that is be kind to the person who it doesn't seem important. Because that's the most important person, right? And so it's like in the army, it's like if you are kind to the cook, he lets you use the kitchen. If you're nice to the commander, he'll make you do push-ups, right?
Yeah, I love
Different
that.
roles, right? But the cook doesn't get a lot of kindness because he's a line worker. He or she is a line worker, right? But if you're kind to them and you're nice to them, you help them out, and you just show respect to people. You don't have to do things, just show respect. That's all you need. That's it. And if you do that, people will rally behind you and will help you out, and they'll be there, or they may not be there. Whatever it is, just be kind. Just be a nice person. That's what I try to be. I just try to be kind. And you talked about corporate culture, right? If you're too kind in a corporate culture, you get eaten alive. You will get eaten alive because they will see weakness. A lot of people will see weakness in that. You have to kind of be brutal. But you can be kind in a startup. That's okay. They're not poisoned by the well yet. It's very, very interesting. It's a very, very interesting, I guess, dichotomy of cultures, right? The way you operate in one is not the way you operate in another. And I've had the chance to operate in both. And I'll choose a startup any day of the week. Any day of the week. But corporate pays better.
I love that saying from your dad. That's really great. Do you feel like you've been able to do that in building teams?
Yes. I am kind to everyone until they're not kind to me.
Fair.
That's it. I am kind to everyone. And once someone smells that as a weakness, I become brutal. But that's the one thing he taught me as well. You know, it's come in peace, but carry a big stick, so to speak. It's a South African saying, but I'm paraphrasing. But yes, from the lesson is like, don't be afraid to smack them around, but come in peace. Don't come aggressive. That's what it is. Yeah. Military is a school of life. You learn a lot in there.
Were you in the military?
No, not me. But I never had the pleasure to do so. But my father was, yeah.
Okay. What do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy? I want a 20-acre property with all of my kids and grandkids living on that property. That's what I want. I want a big house, and then I want a house for each one of them all around. That's my legacy.
I love that. That's sweet.
That's all I want. And then everybody farms together and operates one big business conglomerate together. That's it. A family business. That's what we're doing right now. That's what we're trying to figure out. That's what we want. It's that nice and simple. You work for the family. You get a loan from the family. The family funds your business activity, and the family owns part of your business, right? It's always part of the family.
When did you discover that dream, Oshri? I mean,
I've been in business for a long time, right? I've been in business since I'm 13. Like I said, I was selling CDs, right? So I've seen a lot, and I realized that the most successful people in the world, it's not LinkedIn, or it's not like the guy who raised, $1 billion for his cockamamie startup. The most successful people are the ones who operate as a tight unit, right? In a world that's ever growing with AI, with this, with that, you're so expanded in what you can do. You need that support system. What are we, 2026 now? In 1926, people were operating this way. They were operating as a family unit. You worked in your father's shop, right? Your mom probably didn't work, but that's a function of the time. It's irrelevant now. But you worked in your father's shop, in the bakery, in whatever it is. That's what you did, right? And what happened? People told us now we had to move to cities instead of the farm. And we had to get jobs, and we got jobs. And then people pushed the idea that you should move out at 18, which I think is cockamamie and crazy. You're still a child, right?
Definitely. I have one.
You're just allowed to drive now. I wouldn't let any 18-year-old drive either. But still, right? And they're away from the family when they actually need the most support in their 20s to become that proper adult. Right? That's the thing. You want to have kids? Having kids by yourself without your family around is very difficult. That's very, very hard. It's not a failure of parenting or of the self. It's that it takes a freaking village. So let that village, instead of it being the internet or a nanny or whatever else halfway around the world, have it as part of the family.
I love that. Thank you so much. My dad is going to have a lot to reflect on. Is there anything that you would like to ask him? That is so good, Oshri. Thank you.
No, I don't really have any questions, but yeah.
I'm interested to hear what he has to say because, my dad did work in his dad's factory his entire career. And I feel like his dreams were tied to his father's dreams. And they still are. It's funny, even yesterday he said to me, I live many people's dreams and that makes my life more impactful.
Yeah, there is that possibility, but the way I'm structuring this family concept, right? My wife and I, not just me, we're structuring this family concept. The kids can do whatever they want. They'll have a house. Here's your house. It's on the family property. Oh, you want to buy your own house somewhere else? Knock yourself out. Fine. Bye-bye. But you have a house there with a pool and nice and everything and support around you.
It's wonderful. Yeah, no, my son graduated. He went to go work for my dad a little bit in a factory that somebody who worked for my dad now started himself. And now my son is going to stay in my dad's place in Florida and go to community college. And yeah, like it is still connected.
Yeah, so that's it. That's what it is, right? That's what it is. The last thing is about homeschooling is our dream, my wife and I's dream, is to homeschool our grandkids. Is basically as soon as they're ready to go, you bring them to us, go work, go, shoot, bye-bye. You don't know what you're doing, bye-bye. We do, and then we educate them, right? And then we do full-time homeschooling. I would love that. I would love it. I would love it.
Oh my God, Oshri, I love that so much. Are you taking supplements and body pump classes? I mean, you got to be able to stay in good health to be able to do all of that.
Well, yeah, take care of yourself. Yeah. That's hard these days, but yeah.
Me and my husband say that. We're like, we got to stay young so that we can help with the next generation too. Yeah.
Yep. Well, what else are you going to do? What, are you going to retire and play golf all day? How much golf can you play? What are you going to have? A vineyard? No. Go and pull potatoes out of the ground. That's what will keep you young.
Manual labor.
That's where we're going. We're going back to that. Watch. If AI can do all of our law and accounting and everything, that's where we're going back to. Pick up a shovel.
You've heard from my mom. Now, let's switch it over to Grandpa.
All right. Oshri Cohen.
Oshri is really on the ball. And the first lesson that comes out of this episode is that everybody likes to talk about old school and how the world has evolved and we have like new realities of today. And those people that say that really have lost sight of what old school really means. Old school is learning how to handle and be respectful at every job that you do. And as technology improves and modernizes, you use that old school thinking to modernize and use the tools of the future to also progress and get better. But you don't throw out old school, otherwise you lose your sense of being. You lose your sense of righteousness. You lose your sense of purpose. And when kids learn how to do everything, and there's no distinguishing between hard work, then you have a person that's not a quitter. If things are hard today, what do people say? Oh, well, gosh, that's not worth it. I got to do something else. They give up too easily. But when you grow up where you have to start at the bottom and work your way up and learn every intricacy of whatever business or whatever job that you're talking about, that's how you earn also respect from people where they know that whatever they did, you've done too. So you're not ordering them around. You're working side by side with them. You're a soldier that fights in every trench, in every battle. And you want to fight with somebody that does those things and not someone that just points their finger and send you off to die when they're sitting on top of the mountain saying, oops, miscalculation. You want them to lead by example, as the saying would go, or lead the charge, not where they stay in the background and you fight the battles for them. And it's very interesting that how fast progression can occur, that you have to still be open-minded to be able to pivot in life, to accept change, and yet not do it carelessly and carefree. And like it's your own business, even if you're working for someone else. You have to really show that there's many ways to attack a problem and use it as tools and not where it's necessary a replacement of your business, but as a pivot and an addition. And certain things become obsolete. You have to be able to understand that it's no longer going to work and you have no choice but to change. But you first try to improve everything that you're doing because sometimes you can take an old dog and you can teach it some new tricks. But the idea that you can't, also, you're limiting your possibilities
Are you learning some new tricks?
every day, every day. But look how his philosophy at the end of life is that because of the philosophy distortions that are out there, he would like to teach old school not only to his children, but he'd like to even teach it to his grandchildren. Because again, what is the legacy of this show? Better Call Daddy? It's the legacy of the future and the children and the grandchildren and the great grandchildren. That's the future. But it's not to hand down just dollars and cents or no cents at all. Okay. It's to be able to teach them the right principles of life. And the principles of life don't change. You can add to them, you can become more wise, but you don't want to say, oh no, all the wisdom of the past is now stupidity. When somebody tells you that, guess what? It's just the opposite. They have then a narrow mind and have lost their history. We want to add to our history, not lose it.
Great reaction. I love that, Dad. What'd you think of his quote about being nice to the cook?
But not only be nice to the cook, but make the cook also be proud of what he's doing. Encourage him, compliment him, because when you're extra hungry, it's nice to get a good meal.
True. I like to eat.
That's right. That's right. And as you know, your mom is always interested, what's for lunch? But but the thing is that having a connection with your family and having everyone on the same page, loving each other and working together and being close to each other, that's a much better equation than to have families fighting and going in separate ways, because that's what causes a lot of the jealousies and the hatreds of different peoples out there in the world because they don't have any respect for anyone but themselves. Or is it greed? Or is it emotions that they think that they deserve more than someone else? Let's get back to reality and good old school principles and let's add to our knowledge and wisdom. And I think that would make the world a lot better place.